Chiamo ora John Arne Bjerknes, Design Director Nordic Office of Architecture dalla Norvegia. Gli do il più cordiale benvenuto.
Well, thank you. I have to say that I'm rather happy to be in beautiful Lugano. So thanks for the invitation. It's like this. Our company, our office, is engaged with a great variety of big and smaller architectural projects. But beyond comparison, the hospitals are the most complex. So in order to deal with them, you have to find out how is it possible to make them as simple and understandable as possible. And we really believe in a holistic, inclusive approach. But how do we build our cities? We should build our cities around the squares, the streets, so people can meet, they can understand the structure, they can find a way easy, and they can orientate. There are some historical references. And of course, when you build a city and you establish your squares and you establish your streets, on the primary squares you should find also the primary functions. From Firenze, the first leper hospital was placed immediately in the middle of the city. Maybe not the smartest solution at that time, but still an easy way of getting to the hospital, which as a primary function of a modern society. So at our project in Trondheim, we were lucky enough to find back to the historical roots, sort of. So we tried different solutions for location of the hospital. But there was room and there was space inside the city texture and the city structure to build a huge complex, which hospital is. So there you see, this is the structure of the hospital inside the city texture. And a picture after this is under construction, not ready built. I have to go one back. So this is a sign of making a hospital a part of the city pattern, a part of the city texture, taking care of the existing streets, the existing connections, making a new square in order to make it function. An easily accessible central square serves as an entry point for all the clinics, all the centers you need to visit as a patient or visitor, you will find from the central square, as you do in an ordinary old or new city. Getting to the square, orientate, go in, find your service, find your help. It should be that easy. At the time when we made this design, we were lucky enough also to sort of benefit from a couple of medical ideas which were sort of developing at the time. The one was the idea of the organ-based clinics, that you should treat one part of the body in one clinic. And the other was healing architecture, the need and the possibilities of using daylight art, outside views, and this kind of design. And then when we started to develop and designing the hospital, we were able to sort of benefit from both these ideas. Using this city texture, using the city pattern, fitting each medical clinic into this pattern, suitable, reasonable size, so the size didn't go into being a mega structure. There were 5, 6 other competitors in this competition back in 1995 when we won it. And all the 4 others, they made the mega structures. the kind of hospitals you made in the 60s and the 70s, where you had a sort of a production factory, the hospital factory. Down, you treated people, and you made some towers to make them sleep and take a rest. But they were all like gigantic megastructures and very, very complex to understand, maybe not possible. This is a central square, which is meant to be a fairly ordinary space. Also for the houses, the house design has the same approach, sort of. Make them as ordinary as possible. Not an institution. It's a house in the city. You should recognize it, but it's still an ordinary house. Scale is a part of it. Megastructures are megastructures, and they're mega big. So we try to keep each clinic in a reasonable size, which fits with the program. Maybe 20 to 30,000 square meters in each square, the length of an ordinary quarter in an ordinary city. And in order to win the competition, we used the existing structure of this part of the city to fit in, as I said, the different clinics. And each medical specialty had its own house. So then entering this inside City Square, look around, there are 6 different clinics, 6 different entry points. But if you're unlucky and you don't hit your own entry point, you can go up into the first floor, and there's the circulation possibility, which is open also for public. And all streets and all entry points of the hospital are open for also public in ordinary. And in each entry point, you find the serving possibility, you find a small cafeteria, which is also open for public, and the orientation possibilities. Yeah, I have to, it comes in parts, this one. In order to make it understandable, we also made a normative quarter, and we made a normative section. Easy in, easy out. So all the daycare treatments is placed on ground floor. Get in, get out, easy. You don't have to get into the structure, sort of. And above you find the heavy treatment and the bed wards on top of that. But in each center, you find all the services needed for your illness or for your part of the body. You don't have to be treated as sort of in a car factory, a part of a car sent to the next center. You go to your house and you find the needed service, the needed help in the clinic. And then the elements of healing architecture. The first part was the rational part, but this one is also evidence-based design. I mean, these are not just feelings. Feel that we need daylight, feel that we need to look out, feel that we need art, and this kind of challenge our senses. We know that this way of designing improves the healing process. It improves the health also of the staff. We can read it at the figures after the hospital finished build. And this is from one of the centers, from the restaurant area, looking out into the central courtyard. There was one slogan stated at the start of the whole process. We should try to put the patient in center of every decision. It's sort of easy to paint at the wall, not so easy to fulfill the demands of such a slogan. But we tried at every step, at every discussion, to have it in mind. How is it possible to look at the single, even person and say, okay, how would I do this if I were in this bed, or in this position, or approaching this situation? All patients are, when getting to the bedwards, get their own room. We just have one patient rooms with their own bath. And we made them in clusters, 8 bedrooms, and we tried to place the ward and the staff in the middle of each of these clusters. So when you are sitting or laying down in your bedroom, you can look into the center point of this cluster and you can find the personnel you need to take care of you, to feel secure, to feel that you're in a healing position, and to, yeah. And this is sort of to show some of the sketches made for this discussion. How do you treat a patient? If this is the person you're taking care of, what do you do with the windows? Do you put them down, or do you put them up to 90 centimeters or 100 centimeters? With lying down, you don't see anything but the heaven. And also we're using architecture as a possibility of improving the environment. Using art for wayfinding, the big art program following the whole development of the complex. And then, of course, after taking care of the sort of bigger elements in the planning process, you also have to pay attention to all the 100,000 small details all through the process, and this is maybe the heaviest part of it, because then you have to follow every little decision in order to make them come correct out and designed. So we try to have sort of a board following this process all the way through, taking care of the big questions and principles, but also caring about the little ones. And for all the different functions throughout the hospital. This is inside the bed ward, and you see the central position of the staff. You have to have the usability of each little element throughout the hospital. Guidelines, trying to use natural materials as much as possible. You also see part of the art program. We tried to use colors as meaningful leading possibilities, inside and outside, linking all the different clinics. This was also a part of the art artistic program, taking care of a whole center. A knowledge center, just as an example that it's taking care of ramp leading down to all the auditoriums. You have inclusive access to all levels throughout the hospital. And this kind of detailing. Still, after 15 years of development and project making, what did we learn when we get into a new project? It's a question. If you don't hit the target in the overall conceptual design, you have to start repairing instead of getting into it in the correct position. And this is important, all these little details. But the primary goal should be to take the big steps in the correct position when we start. Thank you.